You guys are about to be stuck with me for the next 5 days. Well, technically 6 because of a certain live stream I'm doing on April 26th. On April 26th, my debut novel, Arboriah Lux, is going to be available for brick and mortar stores to supply. And I'm sort of late on the ball of doing that paperwork, so it actually may come out later. But I will let you guys know just when that's gonna be available. So my book is already available on Amazon Prime. I'll leave the Amazon listing down in the description below. If you guys are still interested in the sweepstakes giveaway, I need you to put down in the comments below your username or a nickname just so that I can put you in the pool. I technically only have 2 people who are in the pool already, and I need more people just because I bought literally 20 books. So 20 books I bought specifically for this live stream, and I only have 2 people that are for sure going to get a copy. But enough about that. We are actually going to be talking about some of the details of Arboriah Lux today. And I thought I'd start out with a bit of lore to sort of just get everybody in the mood for what they're about to get into. So, I hope you guys will stick around, grab a beverage of any kind. I'm actually thinking about, oh wait, no, I don't have any Sprite. I was about to say I was gonna go make myself a sort of a sort of like mock cocktail of like blackberry wine and Sprite, but I don't have any Sprite. So I may just go and get like a bottle of water just to drink throughout the video. But either way, this is still going to be a Cocoa with a Crow, and we are going to be talking about the lore behind Arboriah Lux. Just a regular water bottle today, no fancy drink, no fancy cup or glass or anything like that, just a regular water bottle. So when talking about the lore for Arboriah Lux and everything, I didn't do a whole lot of research before I started writing. I researched as I went along. Some of the lore is more specific if it was like how life would be if the world was more focused on social hierarchy and the race that comes with it. Of course, you technically see that all around here. It's just that with Arboriah Lux, it takes more of a darker turn. Because specifically, Arboriah Lux is what I like to call alternative history. It is history, how it would have taken course if something had happened deep within the past of that version of our reality. In Arboriah Lux's case and everything, it is the equivalent of a Victorian era city/kingdom, and it's mostly focused on having the majority being vampires, and that being a hierarchy in and of itself. Humans actually rank very, very low on the social scale when it comes to the hierarchy of Obsiditourma and its social class. Something I took from how Victorian England actually went about its class system, because if you looked at the Industrial Revolution in Victorian England, a lot of the people that were living there were of the lower class. You did have some middle class in there, and then you had like the top, I think it's like 7 to 12% that were of the nobility. I sort of adopted that for the class system of Arboriah Lux and everything, sort of to punctuate how social discourse has been sort of rampant, and how the Bloods were supposed to sort of quell it and bring everyone together, but because there hasn't been a Blood born in so many years, it sort of has all fallen into disarray. Along with that sort of social structure and everything, I I didn't necessarily do a lot of research when it came to the symbolism that I was using, but upon looking back and like when I was doing the first draft, I started seeing like a lot of mythological symbols. So yeah, if you guys ever wonder why the Tree of Life is on the cover of the book, it's because that technically the God's Tree is sort of the Celtic Tree of Life, but it also takes place, it also sort of takes the form of another tree in mythology, the Tree of Uduna, who harvested golden apples who gave life to the gods of Asgard. And I didn't really see that until I was like going through and I was actually explaining it to somebody. I was like, oh crap. And it just popped into my head and I said it out loud like it was fact, and I was like, oh wow. I did not expect that at all. There's also some other stuff that I absolutely had to do research for as I was going through. The name for Lux and everything, and the name of the book is a perfect example of that, specifically because of the fact that most of the names are names that I have either changed, I have come up with, or are actually Latin in a sense. For Lux and everything, it's very obvious if you look up the word Lux, and if you look at it, if it's at its Latin root, the Latin root for Lux actually means light. And the God's Tree is sort of a beacon of light for the people. Well, the people who care enough to actually know about the traditions, but it's just like, hey, name everything you know about your religion as if it were fact. Another thing I actually added on to this, and this actually came later as I was getting later on into the story, is that I knew that there had to be this big antagonist, and I knew that there needed to be sort of a earth-shattering moment for Lux and Asylus, and for Eldrick and for Ephraim whenever he reappeared again in the story, and that was what is called the Butterfly Killer. There is a chapter in my book called The Butterfly Killer, and it's actually it's not really given a name, but the horrendous acts are in fact mentioned earlier on in the book, when Lux talks to Dargren about the visions that she's having, and specifically it is about Jack the Ripper. A little bit of a disclaimer, I love Jack the Ripper so much. I mean, like, the case in and of itself is so fascinating, specifically because it's mind-boggling to me, because it's like, here is one of like the world's first most renowned serial killers, and no one knows the name, but there are a lot of theories. I thought with Arboriah Lux we could finally somewhat give the man a name, and also a little bit of a backstory as to why he was doing this and everything, and that is actually, in that backstory actually shows up later on in the book. One of my friends that I was actually reading the book and everything, when she bought it, she asked me to explain the hierarchy of Obsiditourma and like where all of the classes are and everything throughout the rings of the city. So I'll get to that right here. So I don't exactly have an image for this and everything, but I will put like a little, let's just say, word bank right here for you to actually just, to reference back to. So, going into this and everything, at the very top of the list you have the Morgenstern family. And they are the beings that hold the most power within Obsiditourma. They're the ruling family. They've been ruling for generations. They've been trying to keep everybody together and to try to maintain peace. Now, that being said, it's not exactly been peaceful. I mean, obviously there hasn't been a lot of peace. I mean, like, if you have done your research at all and actually looked at Victorian England during the Industrial Revolution, you can see that, there was so much going on, especially around the time of Jack the Ripper and everything. Everything was a complete and utter chaos. But the Morgenstern family are known as the ruling family of demons. They're technically not demons, but because of sort of tradition and also legends of how the Morgenstern family came to power, they've sort of taken up that moniker just to, well, I would say keep the peace, but it's not really keeping the peace, it's more like maintaining order at this point. Okay, so right under the Morgenstern family, you have the nobles of the courts, and those are primarily your, just like, those are your more posh of the higher aristocratic vampires. So these are the ones that, like, you hear a lot of stories about, but you don't know if they're true. I didn't really focus on them a whole lot in Arboriah Lux because I was more focused on Lux's journey. From the outskirts and from the barracks of the Watchmen to all the way through the social structure. But these are the families that have the most power, and it's primarily just, okay, you know the thing, keep your friends close but your enemies closer. That's basically the nobles of the courts in a nutshell. Right under that, you have the aristocrats, and this is actually where Aelgrim ranks on the social hierarchy, because he was born into a noble family, but because of because of the order in which he was born, he actually became a member of the guard. He sort of goes into his backstory in the book and everything as to how he became captain of the Ebony Guard and part of the guard that, like, protects the royal family. But I'll leave that for him to talk about. Unfortunately, the aristocrats and the nobles of the court are sort of tied together in the single most unfortunate character that I've ever had the mispleasure of writing, and that is Duchess Marine. If you've seen my TikTok video about her, you know for a fact I do not like her. I wrote her specifically to be the most unlikable, but at the same time, she does sort of serve a purpose. And I really can't say that purpose without spoiling what happens in the book. So if you're curious about the role that the Duchess Marine has in this story, you're gonna have to read it. But under that and everything, you have what are called low bloods, and low bloods are basically they're right under the aristocrats technically, but they're anywhere from like the second to fifth generation. The second to I think it was like fifth generation, because Eldric's a fifth. And so are Tana and 20, I don't know what I'm thinking. So the low bloods are from the second generation of vampire to the fifth generation. And I'll explain generation after this, what all that means and everything. But these are the ones that sort of like, they base themselves in family trade, whether that be medicine, that be record keeping, it could be notary republic, it could be, it basically varies. It's not technically blue collar, but it's also technically not white collar either. It's stuff that's like, there is technically an apprenticeship that you have, that all of these families go through. And unfortunately, at the very bottom of the list and everything, there is actually not a name for these people. These are your first generation vampires who have been newly turned. These are also the humans and also the other half-breeds that are extremely rare within the society of Obsiditourma. And I say rare because I actually mention this in the book, or technically Eldric and Asylus do, and it's that hybrids such as Dampier are exceptionally rare because of the vampiric strain. It's technically a mutation. It's not a curse like most vampire mythos are. It is not technically a curse. It is technically a genetic mutation, and most mutations actually do end up fighting out with the antibodies in a normal person's bloodstream. Don't take that don't take that literally. I mean, like, I am not a biologist by any means. It's just how I imagine it to be. Okay, so another question that I often get when everybody's reading through chapter 2 is what do I mean by generation when referring to vampire? And that in itself is sort of a long story, but it reverts back to what I said before about vampirism being a genetic mutation and not a damning religious curse of hell. Where most authors go for vampirism being a curse from defying God, or being basically just a supernatural creature, this is more of it. I take it more into that of a genetic mutation, because the human body is always changing and everything, but the reason why this mutation is sort of unique is because it was technically caused by magic, and that magic has basically upgraded to the point where it has become it's become a mutation that will fight very violently with human genetics. For your first generations, those are the ones that are newly turned and everything. And when the mutation goes through the bloodstream and everything, it changes physical features such as eyes. They usually turn to red or pink, depending on who was the one who was turning them. And the hair also becomes a lighter shade. And then as they grow older, and then as each generation grows closer or older and older, their hair gets fairer and fairer, and also until it becomes an absolute stark white. So generation refers to literally like, okay, say for instance, your great-great-grandfather was human but was turned into a vampire. He is then a first generation. His children will be second generation, and their children will be thirds, their children will be fourths, fifths, sixths, and there you have it. With Obsiditourma and everything, the nobles don't know what generation they are because they're so old. They just think themselves to be pure-blood vampires. But the thing about it is, and it's one of my favorite quotes that Lux has in the book and everything, is that if you look back farther and far enough in your own bloodline, you will find human blood. And she says that because she doesn't see rank or generation or anything like that. She sees everybody for who they are. She sees everybody as equals, even if they don't see them that way. And that's sort of what makes her dangerous. Specifically because and everything is that she's supposed to keep her nature as an Astral Blood hidden, and ideology like this is something that an Astral Blood would say. It is remarkable that nobody finds out what she really is. But that's as simple as I can do without really going so into detail that you don't want to read the book, because it's technically laid out for you in chapter 2, but everybody was asking me some people were asking me questions, and I thought I would just put that in a segment here in this video. Yeah, sometimes talking just sort of it gets too much for me because I tend to ramble. But yeah, Arboriah Lux in and of itself, the worlds that I created for it, it's really, really dark in terms of how things are perceived, because from Lux's point of view and everything, she doesn't know anything about this world. She literally wakes up in this like dead field, and she doesn't know what's going on. She has to have her new companions in Silas, Eldrick, and Ephraim explain what's going on and how things are. And when she's discovered to be an Asterblood and everything, things get increasingly more complicated, because she is the first Asterblood that has been seen in 50 years since the birth of Silas and his twin sister. And that, I believe, is technically all that I can say about Arboriah Lux and everything. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to put them down in the comments below, or you guys can basically ask them at the live stream on Wednesday. If you're not able to make the live stream on Wednesday, do not fear. I will be doing another live stream on April 29th, specifically because I know for a fact that some people aren't going to be able to take time out of their day or be up, depending on what time zone you're in, to basically watch me start this live stream at 6 o'clock. And that's 6 o'clock at night, not in the morning. But the weekends are typically a little bit more free for me, and I know that more people are going to have more time to just be online during that time, so I am holding 2 live streams next week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out till the end of this video and just watching the video. You guys are such troopers. I say that to be maybe 5 people who keep watching my videos over and over and over again. I don't know who watches my videos. But either way, for anyone who is watching these videos, is sharing them with other people, and are subscribing for more, thank you so much, because I'm not a typically social person and I'm not really social when it comes to social media either. I mean, like, you'll see me from time to time, but at the same time it's like it's just like I'm there, but I'm lurking. This has sort of been an exercise to get my public speaking skills up, because I know that if I ever am asked to do a book signing event, I know for a fact I will absolutely have to just like get used to talking to people. Going to conventions and everything helps out with that too, but at the same time it's just that it's like I'm not used to having all the attention on me, so if my voice cracks at any point, or if I just seem really nervous, that's particularly why. If you guys want to see more content like this, and also see other content that I am creating for the next few days, I want you to please subscribe and ring the bell for more notifications. And also look through some of my other videos and shorts too. You might find something that you like. If you liked the video, please click the thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And let me know if you guys are still wanting to be part of the live stream and everything. I hope you guys will, particularly because it's like I'm so interested to see who's going to be a part of it and everything, and it would just mean everything to me if you guys would be there to sort of celebrate with me in the form of this achievement of mine, because this is my first book that I've ever published, and I had a lot, and it was a learning experience for me, but this was a story that I wanted to tell, and I've got so many more that I want to. I'm trying not to like tear up or anything, but at the same time it's just like this is something that's sort of been a culmination of a life's dream for me, and that's how much this means to me. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. This will not be the only video that you hear from me today. I'm going to do some other videos, and I'm also going to be doing a video on TikTok. Probably a few to talk about the live stream and everything, but yeah. This has been Kat the Crow-Winged Author, talking about the lore of my debut novel, Arboriah Lux, and I hope you guys have a very wonderful day. Bye guys.